Alright guys, I'm back. I'm actually today going to make salsas. Salsas meaning green salsa and red salsa. So one of the things I really enjoy is a good spicy salsa. I don't like anything that's I don't really like store-bought. And I gotta credit my cousin Joel, for showing me how to make this salsa. Up until he came around, I used to make it, what I used to do with the green salsa, I used to boil these and then just add some chile and stuff like that and then cook it. So this is a much better, easier way, and it just tastes amazing whenever you grill it. So today I'm going to show you how to make both green and red salsas. Very authentic, very homemade. Obviously what I use is serrano peppers, I use the green tomatillos, and then I use red Roma tomatoes. The red obviously I use for my red salsa, the green I use for my green salsa. So I use red onions, cilantro, garlic, and serrano pepper. So again, very simple. Salt and pepper is all I add to it because it really doesn't need much flavor other than that. But I will say, if you're starting out and you're not really used to a lot of heat, I would obviously maybe do a little less on the serrano. A lot of people peel it, take out the seeds. I personally don't do that because I like the heat, but obviously your preference. So anyway, I'm gonna get started. First thing I always do is break up the garlic into bulbs, and I'm gonna grab a piece of foil that I got specially prepared for it. Kind of flew away with the wind, but what I do is I put all this garlic on the foil so it doesn't fall through my barbecue grates, and then all I do is just kind of fold the edges. Obviously you guys may have better technology than this, but this is kind of the quick and easy way to do this. Just basically all you're wanting is all the garlic to stay in one place. Do the same with this. And don't worry about peeling it. Obviously you're going to peel it after it's been softened and grilled, and it's much easier to peel. So the garlic literally will just kind of ooze out of its shell once it's all been roasted. So no worries about that. All right, so now we've got this done. I took the time to kind of prepare ahead, washed all my chiles, cilantro, all that good stuff. These have all been peeled and washed, Roma tomatoes as well. So at this time, I'm just letting my fire get nice and good, and I'll be back when it's time to put those on. All right, so my fire's ready, got everything ready to go. So now I'm gonna actually start putting everything on. I've got a pretty big pit, enough for all of this, so I'm gonna put it all on together, and then I'll make both the green and the red separately. But I am gonna put everything together. Put everything right on the pit. Nothing under it, nothing like that. Just directly on there. Roast them all up. Obviously, there's hotter parts of the pit. That's why I'm not putting a lot in the middle, because the middle tends to be the hottest part. I don't really want anything to burn too quickly. I do want it to char, but I want it to cook through the center as well. So I tend to kind of just put everything around the edges of the middle. Kind of a little trick of the trade there. Now I just close the lid so it'll kind of turn into a makeshift oven. Make sure you have this open, your chimney, and then make sure these gates here are open so that you can get a good convection in there to go right through it. So now I just kind of wait, kind of watch it every once in a while, make sure nothing burns, but you do want a nice char on it. So I'll be back, just kind of show you what that looks like, and then we'll put it in the blender. All right, so one thing that's pretty important that I wanted to share is I wanted to kind of see the process of how everything looks. For a lot of you guys, this may look really burnt, and I totally get it. I would feel the same way if I was watching this on video, but something I want you to understand, especially with the chiles, that black outside there is going to make it really, really, really smoky and good. That's what you want. You do want a good char like this on these tomatoes and these chiles, and really on everything. When the tomatoes start to get to where there is kind of the juices oozing out of them, like you might see on those there, that's about the time when they're ready to go. They turn a little bit darker green. They're not as bright green as maybe that's how they start. This is kind of where they end up. That's where you want to be. You want them soft to the touch, oozing out some of the juices. That's how you know they're kind of getting cooked throughout. And so that's where I'm actually gonna take them off. And obviously not everything is gonna get taken off at the same time. So with the red tomatoes, some of the green tomatoes, I'll take those off before I take off the onions, for example. The chiles normally get taken off before anything else. The garlic, just to make sure that I don't overdo it, I normally leave it on one of the coolest spots of the grill. So that tends to be on my right side of my grill. So now I've got all my veggies off, everything off. If you want to come zoom in on this is, don't get scared. I know how this looks. It's not the prettiest sight. Everything looks burnt, but it's honestly not. It's kind of what your tomatoes are supposed to look like. Garlic is a little roasted. I know how ugly this onion looks, but there's a trick to this that I'm gonna do that is gonna make it a lot better. So what I do is, first thing with my onion, obviously I peel off the first layer or 3. So all of this burnt, peeling it right off with both of these. Now you got yourself a nice soft onion. And then what I do, this part here, I just sort of shave off that black, a lot of it. I like to actually leave some of it, to be honest. Kind of do the same thing to this one. Shave off some of it. And I actually like to leave some of it because I like the taste of that kind of crispy onion there. So now you got yourself something very soft, pliable. Most of it's cooked throughout, so you're good on that. And then what I do, get my blender here, and I will normally I'm gonna start with the red. Normally put my tomatoes. Don't worry if there's a little water. We're actually gonna add water to this as well. I do like to kind of cut the onion a little, just to have easier. This knife is terrible. I'm gonna use a different one, but just to make it a little easier to blend. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Sometimes I may blend it up a little and then put a little more. And here's my trick to the garlic. These literally just come right out. Easy as can be. What I like to do is just cut off the end there. I like to just squeeze it out. Squeezes right out. Alright, so I've added about half my garlic in there. I'm gonna come in with the tomato. I'm sorry, with the chile. And you might be a little scared at home, but I like my salsa really spicy, so I add a ton of chiles. I actually sometimes even add more than that. Now the last thing I need is a little water. So some water right here. Just add that water right in there. That helps it to blend. If you don't do that, your salsa is going to be way too thick to the point where you can't really even blend it. So I'm going to blend it just a bit, just get it started, and then I'll actually add salt and all that other good stuff in there. Okay. And look at that. Looks really good. Now I'm going to add salt. A little more. You want to add a good amount of salt because, again, none of this is salted. And I use sea salt. I like coarse sea salt like this. I may be adding more later. And then, of course, fresh ground black pepper. Quite a bit because, obviously, you're doing it for the whole thing. And then the last thing I'm going to add is a big pinch of cilantro. And I said that's the last thing, but actually, once I'm done, I'm gonna cut up some limes and put that in there as well. All right, so then the last thing I do is I cut open a lime, and depending on how much you want, you can do 1, you can do 5 or more, whatever you like. I love lime, so these aren't all that juicy. So I'm probably gonna add more later after I finish filming, but this is just for instructional purposes. I'm gonna add this one. Obviously you could do this after. Alright, now it's time to try this, see how it came out. Needs a little more salt, but other than that, really good. Really spicy, really smoky, perfect, exactly what you want. Smoky, spicy, it's great. Try one more, see if that did the trick. Perfect. It's perfect. Once I pour it out, I'm gonna add a little more lime. It's gonna be all set. And obviously this, if you put it up in a jar, it'll probably last you, I don't know, 3 weeks, probably longer, as long as it's well maintained in the fridge. So I'll be back to show you how I do the green one. Pretty much the same process, but I'll be right back. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the green. I basically just dumped out my red salsa into a jar, and now we're gonna go on to the green. Same exact process. I do nothing different. I literally cut the onion a little, just so it'll fit in the blender. Get my tomatillos, put those all in there. And because this is a lot more than my red, I had a lot more green tomatoes than I did red. I'm actually gonna do this in parts. So what I do is, if not everything fits in your blender, you just basically, oh, by the way, I went in and peeled all these garlics after they've been roasted and put those in there. But essentially what I do is I start with about half, go ahead and blend that up with a little water, and then I add the rest. Then I go ahead and add my salt. No, I'll need quite a bit. Pepper. And with tomatillo sauce, I don't really add a lot of lime, just because tomatillo to me tends to taste like it already has lime in it. The flavor of it's already very acidic. So that's just me, but obviously you can add some if that's your preference. Alright, so there, now I'll have about half of it. Now I'll go ahead and just throw in the rest, as much as I can fit in there. With this, I think I'll be able to fit all the rest. I had one chile that was a little too burnt, even for my taste. So, it's a backyard's for it. Alright, so now I just go ahead and continue blending. Oh, I apologize. One thing I forgot, very important thing, was the cilantro. So what I do is just get the rest of this. So I used 1 head of cilantro for both salsas. Pardon my dirty hands there. All right, so there you have it. That is my tomatillo sauce. Let me try it here, see what I'm missing. So good. This one is pretty spicy. I added quite a bit of serrano in there, so it is very spicy. Obviously, you can do it as much or as little as you like. You can add one, serrano. You can do jalapeno, whatever you prefer. Again, the whole idea behind this though is just grilling everything really gives it that good flavor. So hope you enjoy. Use it with everything from fajitas to eggs in the morning to everything. I think much better than any store-bought salsa you ever taste. Thanks.